Indeed, you do, and a very important one at that, Sakina. More than 3,000 participants from over 100 countries will once again sail on more than 100 vessels as part of the global Sumud Flotilla Spring 2026 mission to Gaza. This year's mission will deploy a specialized medical fleet carrying more than 1,000 healthcare professionals and stocked with life-saving medicines and equipment. The previous flotilla that sailed last year was intercepted by the government of Israel, with global participants including Nkosi Zwelivelile Mandela Zukiswa Bana being detained and then later released after a global outcry. But to tell us more about this, we are joined in studio by Yasmin Akka, and she's one of the Global Sumud Flotilla activists. It's so good to have you in studio. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk about the flotilla and the determination, because this does take a lot of determination to once again take to the seas to try and deliver aid to Gaza. Talk to us about this.
Well, we're calling it Sumud. It's the steadfastness, and we are following the lead of Palestinians. We have been seeing what has been happening in Gaza as well as in the West Bank for 2.5 years, crimes against humanity, a genocide, and the world is just watching. And nothing has changed until today. So for us, it's important when the governments are not stepping in, it is the duty of the civil society to act. And so we've sailed one time, we sailed the second time, and then we put together the Global Sumud Flotilla, and we sailed with dozens of boats, and we are going back. Because what Israel is doing is breaching international law, so we have to continue and push forward.
So amazingly, there's just so much to keep up with. And at the time when the flotillas were last year going, there was a lot of noise about what was going on in Gaza and with Israel, and people were outraged. Now the outrage seems to be dropping, and people are seeming to think, okay, well, things are looking good in Gaza and things are much better. But I'm not sure that's the case. Maybe we're just not talking about it enough. Perhaps you want to give us a little bit more information as to what you are getting in the ground or on the ground in Palestine as opposed to what we are being told.
Well, this is, of course, it's calculated by the states. What the states are always afraid of is the rage of the society, because when we have rage and what we're seeing, the total destruction of a people, civil society wants to act. And to stop that, they came up with the ceasefire, the so-called ceasefire, which it's not a ceasefire. Over 500 people have been murdered since the ceasefire is in place since October. And humanitarian aid is still not reaching. And the trucks that are going in, they're not reaching the people because people are being stopped from going to these aid distribution places and having access to the aid. And as well as what we're seeing right now is the yellow line, this so-called buffer zone. It's going further into where the civil society is living. And I mean, Gaza is such a small place. I mean, it's a very densely populated area, even before the genocide. So with the genocide, people are being pushed more to the sea. And so there's no space for people. They have been displaced, and they're being further displaced. They all live in makeshift tents, and we're seeing the winter. The winter this year was very harsh. There were storms, and I mean, Palestinians in Gaza, they are saying they have no access to humanitarian aid, and they're being further pushed.
The humanitarian aid, because I mean, we know that the International Court of Justice basically said that the flow of humanitarian aid must be allowed to flow unintercepted into Gaza. Is this not happening?
Well, especially under the Fourth Geneva Convention, the occupying power is legally obliged to deliver humanitarian aid and make sure that the civilians have access to aid, to medical supplies, but none of that is happening. But we're not surprised because Israel enjoys such international impunity. They're not following through with what they're illegally obliged to do. There is humanitarian aid entering, yes, that's what they're saying, but the aid that is entering, it's sometimes not useful for the people. If people don't have fire to cook food, how are they going to cook the food that is entering. And this is, of course, purposefully. They know that it's intentional. And this is what we've been hearing. I mean, the recent UN statistics show that 30 to 40% of the population in Gaza don't eat sometimes for days. Yeah. These are the statistics, these are numbers.
And this is what we get told and hear, because to try and actually get into Gaza is another story altogether. And this is what you are going to try and do once again. Last year, we know that unfortunately the mission was intercepted, that humanitarian aid did not reach the shores. What makes you think that this is going to be different? Are you going to handle it differently? What is going to happen this time that hopefully you can actually get there?
Well, what we're seeing right now is also the peace board that has been established by the United States and Israel. So the people that actually are responsible for the destruction, for the genocide, are now talking about peace. Obviously, they're not there to bring peace. They are there to further colonize Gaza. And so I believe, even if it seems like, or it is the way it is at the moment, that people are more quiet, I also believe it's because the regional war, people are confused. It's very hard to follow up with what's going on. There's pure violence in the world. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that we as a civil society, we should stop. We have to continue pushing forward. Right now, we are planning to go with more boats, and we are planning to go with more people. And we are also trying to tell the world that Palestinians have the right to talk about the future, about their own future. What we're seeing right now, and for decades, Palestinians have never been at these tables to determine their own future. And it's happening again. Yeah. So we want to stop that, and we want to push forward, and we want to show the world that we are all together in this. And if we stop talking about Palestine, then this will happen everywhere, and which is happening everywhere anyway.
Unfortunately, this is the problem. Now, I want to make this a little bit more personal for you, because, I mean, you were one of you were part of the flotilla. You were one of the activists that were actually detained by the Israeli government in a very notorious prison in the Negev desert. What was that like? And the fact that you're going again, I mean, just tells me, you know, how passionate you are about that. But going back to that moment that you were detained and the conditions that you were detained in, what was that like for you?
Well, we organized the first ever boat, which is right here, the Madeleine. We went with 12 people in June, and we were detained illegally and then deported, and then we came back. We came back with more boats. So we organized the Sumud Flotilla. Again, intercepted in international waters, detained and brought to the Negev desert, to the Kitsiot prison. Kitsiot prison is known for its for the torture, for people disappearing, for Palestinians disappearing and being killed through torture. And seeing that and the way they were treating us has shown the world once again that the impunity, basically the impunity of Israel, and it doesn't matter what citizen you are. Like I'm a German citizen, and the government is not reacting to it. There were so many citizens from around the world. The governments did not condemn it. They did not try to stop it. Some of the governments even went so far to send military vessels to infiltrate the mission and telling their citizens that they should leave the mission because we are going into a military zone, which we are in international waters, and Israel has no jurisdiction in Gaza, and kidnapping us and detaining us and bringing us to the Zionist entity against our will is breaching international law and breaching the law of the sea. So, but Israel, I mean, we're seeing it. Israel is unstoppable when it comes to the violence. Israel has a long list of war crimes, and stopping a humanitarian aid and attacking civilians is just another war crime on the list of Israeli war crimes.
I just want to keep talking to you because I know there's just so much more I can get from you, but we've run out of time. In terms of timelines on this, when are you hoping for this to take place? And also, if people want to get hold of you and perhaps maybe take part in the mission or help with humanitarian aid in any way,
Yes. So what's really important right now is that we have only a number of boats.
Yeah.
But people don't have to be on the boats to be on the boat.
Exactly.
So we are calling on trade unions, we're calling on students to rise up, because we can't do this alone. We need people on land to rise up again and say, stop this violence, not just in Palestine, but everywhere. We're seeing it in the West. How to get involved? We have a website. They can come and approach us. They can sign up. It's now open. So everyone is welcome. But again, you don't have to be on the boat to act.
Yeah, you can be here on the ground.
Absolutely.
Speaking out. Good luck. Please keep us posted. I know that
you will.
We'll stay in touch with you. Yasmina Kar, global Sumud Flotilla activist, talking to us about this year's global Sumud Flotilla, which is planned for spring 2026, with more details being launched, of course, later on this morning. I know that you'll be talking more about that.